Welcome to AstroEnergy with Astrologer Angel Shelley Overton. Hello and good morning, good afternoon, good evening. It is July 18th, 2017, and my name is Shelley Overton, and you are listening to the AstroEnergy Show on Blog Talk Radio. I am excited to be here with you today, and the Dunkin' Donuts coffee I had right now and before might have something to do with it, but I don't care. I'm going to be probably lit up like a Christmas tree with caffeine because I don't drink a lot of caffeine. At least I try not to. Lately I have been, but I think that's probably just one of the coping mechanisms that come out when things get stressful, since, you know, you cut back on other things and somewhere you got to have something to cope. I think that's probably true for most of us, that, you know, we have to have something that we do that is like, oh, this is where I go to cope, whether it's alcohol or cigarettes or exercise or, you know, whatever your vice is. Maybe it's not a vice. Maybe it's actually something for you. So, yeah, that's probably what I should do, is start to do something healthy, right? Anyway, welcome to the show. We've got a lot of stuff going on this week, and usually I will tell you, unless I've been doing a blog or teaching a class or talking about it to someone else, I don't generally look at the planets in advance. So when I do the show, it's all very off the cuff and ad lib. So that kind of helps it be much more intuitive, which is kind of how I do my show. And I like to do it that way because it stresses me out sometimes to do it the other way. Although I have to admit, there are times when I have a subject and I have to do some research, or I won't have anything to talk about. So this week we're going to go over the planets, and then we're going to talk about some of the fire energy coming into the sky. And yeah, I've got the chat room open to talk to each other. And if someone goes into the chat room, tell me if you can hear background noise, because I've got the dishwasher going. And for some reason, I do this every week. I turn on some machine, whether it's the dryer or the dishwasher, and then I'm like, why is that on while I'm doing my show? Anyway, so let's see. I'm just trying to go over what's been going on. So this last week, I don't know if I should talk about that, because politics can be a touchy subject. But you know what? I think that if you talk about politics, you definitely get people talking. But we had the email post from Junior, and that just kind of shocked and stunned me. But Mercury in Leo, which is like this sense that you want to be out in the spotlight. You have to shine the spotlight on everything. Yeah, it just kind of amazes and stuns me on that. Anyway, so we've got all sorts of talking to each other this week. We've got Jupiter in Libra at 15 today, and just a little, actually not even, it's coming up on an exact, I've had my planets reversed. So if you're following along at home, and the caffeine kicking in, if you want to know when something is exact, the moving planet moves into alignment. And so Venus and Jupiter are coming up on a trine. Venus is the quicker moving planet, but she's at 15 and 9 minutes, and Jupiter is at 15 and 22. Obviously, she's a little earlier and she's moving faster, so she's coming up on an exact trine to Jupiter. So that means that definitely today we're going to have some interesting things going on. Venus is desire and beauty and aesthetics, and Gemini is communication and understanding information. And because the energy is electrical and it comes at any electrical influenced or air influenced planet or sign, it's going to create an awareness, pull energies at one time, which is why Gemini is seen as dualistic, but in my opinion, it's not always duality. It's even more. So it's multiple because electricity, well, I guess AC/DC could run on two currents, but I really do see electricity as more coming at you from multiple directions, like the radio. That could potentially be seen as Aquarian or Uranian, but Uranus is a higher vibration of the Gemini/Mercury energy, so maybe that's where that comes in. But I guess I kind of see the Mercury energy and influence as not just being one, but being many, and not just two, but many. So it makes you feel like, wow, where are you coming from? Because there's always so much coming at you. So Venus in Gemini means that there's going to be multiple desires, multiple directions. Chances are we're going to have a hard time focusing on which way we want to go, which desire we have, and which one we want to choose. So there's a lot going on with Venus right now. We've got just past an exact square to Neptune, and we're approaching the exact trine to Jupiter. We've got an opposition we're approaching to Saturn. And let me see what else has she got. And then Pluto, and I'm watching this little teeny moth flutter around my computer. She's got an approaching inconjunct to Pluto, which my computer, I guess I might have set it up to not show inconjuncts, which I need to rectify that. But Pluto's at 17 degrees Capricorn, which puts Venus in Gemini, all within 2 degrees of an inconjunct. So between the trine to Jupiter, which, as I've said in other shows, there is a difficult energy coming out with that, and then it gets better. There's an opposition to Saturn and an inconjunct to Pluto. So all of these energies are really combining to make Venus have her head spin a little bit. So that means our desires are kind of all over the place, and we're opposing authority with what we want to do. The authority is saying, no, you have to take more ownership of the direction and the action expressed through you right now. And of course, Gemini is an energy of ideas. It is not an energy of action. It's an energy of talking. So Saturn in Sagittarius wants to walk the talk, but Venus in Gemini is like, but it's just really great ideas. I'm not prepared to take action. So you may be finding that in your life, in your day-to-day life, that you're having really great ideas, but maybe not quite ready to take that action that would support the ideas. And so it may be frustrating others, or you might even, they might be frustrating you if the ideas are not coming to fruition. I'm being attacked by a moth, a teeny little one. Anyway, and Gemini rules small creatures too, so that may be why. And I saw a frog, a teeny little 1.5-inch tree frog on my window this morning, and I posted it to Instagram. So those of you who follow me on Instagram, it's Artful Shelley. But it's really the energy of siblings. So all of this energy can be coming out around siblings, around neighbors, with other people. So having a trine to Jupiter now, Jupiter also in an air sign, and it's expanding. So what's going on, especially Venus rules Libra, and Jupiter's in Libra. So Jupiter's answering to Venus, and then Venus is opposing Saturn and in conjunct to Pluto. So what's going on is the energy of Venus and Gemini trining Jupiter is wanting to do your own thing within a relationship, within the context of this is going to get really, really difficult to follow probably. The concept of the relationship, the context of the relationship, that's what is going to be about you. You want to have your way within the relationship. You want to have your ideas manifest and your ideas listened to. Really, that's the bottom line of Venus in Gemini, or Venus in general. She just wants to be paid attention to. She wants to be adored. And in Gemini, she wants to be adored for what she has to say. And so, and also valued. Adoration and value, both of those are associated with Venus. So Jupiter, again, is the last 15 degrees. So he went back to 13. Now he's direct, and he's going to go through these last 15 degrees before October. And when he gets to Scorpio, that's when you'll see these fruition and manifest. So right now, it's really about hammering out what is the vision for what we want within us, and can we get to that point? It is also about travel and expression of energy around other people. This energy, Jupiter, the foreign energy, and I don't mean to go on so much about this, but there's just so much to say given this chart right now. And so Venus trine Jupiter is wanting to take action around freedom, because Jupiter needs the freedom. Jupiter has to express here and there, and hey, what do you want to find out more information? And it is a big diplomatic energy around Libra. So we will see more diplomacy or more miscommunication from the authority figure, one authority figure to another in politics, because while Jupiter's in Libra and ruled by Venus, Saturn's in Sagittarius and ruled by Jupiter. So it kind of is a domino effect. We have, this is getting into a really deep show, and I wasn't going to go this deep. But oh well, I will give you a little bit more on reading the aspects today. So Venus is opposite Saturn, and then Saturn answers to Jupiter, Jupiter answers to Venus. So we have this triangle energy going on. Even though it's not an exact trine in the sky, it is triangular. So what we have is like, I'm going to talk to you and you're going to talk to them, and then they're going to say something to you. So we're all kind of working in towards the same end, but from different angles and different motivations. So there is an authority figure who wants to go back over what they've been through before. They were in the process of moving on, getting on with their lives, doing the freedom thing, having freedom for the masses or for those who are of other cultures. So think about immigrants, think about other countries and what their agenda is. And they're working in tandem with Jupiter, because Jupiter and Saturn are within sextile to each other. So they're only 7 moving closer as Jupiter moves on in the zodiac. They're moving closer to really cooperating. And so there is this strong sense of freedom around having immigration freer from restriction. Saturn is going back going, well, we had just gone forward. When Saturn was moving forward, Saturn made restrictions. Of course, that would be some of the immigrant government, but in your own life, it will be around travel, like planning travel to other countries, or education, which Sagittarius also rules. And so, oh, please don't. Okay, so I just had my screen go black, but for a second I thought the electricity went out. If the electricity ever goes out on my end, which it did last week for no apparent reason other than I think somebody flipped a switch up the road to the new house, I will call right back. So there may be dead air if that ever happens. If that ever happens, stay put, and I will call back in and get back on the show. But it takes me a couple seconds, and I may have to reboot a computer. So if I suddenly fall silent, that's what happens. But it didn't happen, thankfully. But it has in the past, so I'm just letting you know. Okay, so Saturn in Sagittarius wants to be about the people of other cultures and wants to create a new structure. When Saturn was going forward, he was restricting. And what the restriction does, and this is really crucial to remember in the next 3 years, because it's going to be very restrictive around authority figures and around government structures. We're moving into a time where we're really starting to have to own how much we need to control other people and countries and things like that. But as Saturn went forward in Sagittarius, the issues are greatly about people of other cultures. When Saturn goes retrograde, he goes back over and says, well, maybe I have to rework that a bit because that isn't necessarily going over well. And Jupiter in sextile means that now Jupiter is not only representing the people of other cultures, but it's in Libra, so it has to deal with the other. That's what Libra is, you and me. And so Jupiter in Sagittarius and Sagittarius energy with Saturn are trying to find a cooperative balance. when Saturn goes direct, he will revisit that, and I've got chills when I'm telling you this, and make it something else. And because of the sextile at that time, which will happen, I'm sure, you know what? In all this, I forgot to open my ephemeris. So let me just find those real quick online, and then I can tell you when that will be. So actually, I'm also going to look it up in my cute little ephemeris book. Again, this is the Llewellyn Daily Planetary Guide. And I'm going to go pop over to the back and run my eye down and see just when that's going to happen here. And it will be on the 27th of August. The two will be in sextile to each other. So we'll feel that energy like really strongly as we move towards that date. So during this time, let's see, also Saturn goes direct August 21st. So just after that, the two will be, just within a couple days, the two will be in sextile. So that's a really, and I wanted to touch on that too this week. That's a really big week. We're going to have the solar eclipse on the 21st. And then, of course, Saturn goes direct only a few days before that. So we shift direction around career, around authority figures, around travel and education, all the things Sagittarius rules: music, education, travel, real estate. And so right now we're in the redefining process, and then we're going to move forward for the third week of August. And it's going to be a major shift. I guarantee you that's going to be a huge week in the news. Things are going to be changing around. People are going to be owning what they've said. The masses are going to insist on certain things. So it's going to be a really big week, and especially with foreign communication, foreign connections. So, and also in your personal life, it can mean moving. It can mean that house that you've been wanting to sell will now sell. And yeah. So, and then the last thing that I didn't talk about that I want to talk about on Venus, on the Venus front, is Venus in conjunct Pluto. So Venus in Gemini, Pluto in Capricorn kind of also reiterates this whole governmental structure, authority, career energy, and it can mean that what we're saying we want, what we're saying our vision is not connecting to our boss, is not connecting to what the government is doing in many levels. It doesn't just mean American government. It can mean other governments. So we're seeing that as well. And because Pluto is at 17 and Jupiter is at 15, they are within 2 degrees of an exact square. So that also means that we're feeling that disconnect. And so quite honestly, as an American and in America, you're feeling this complete disconnect with the government to what the people of foreign culture are really feeling at this moment. And also, I can tell you, education is also not, people in the educational field are not really pleased with the overarching structure of the educational system. And I probably am a little more aware of that right now because just yesterday or the day before, I stumbled on a YouTube channel that's really cute, and if I can, play around with my browser here while I'm doing this, I'll tell you what it's called. But it's a young woman who has her own YouTube channel, and she talks about elementary education. And I saw it. I'm sorry for all the asides, but I like doing that. I think it makes the show a little bit more personable, and hopefully you don't mind it too much. But it's primary. So if you go on YouTube and search Pocket Full of Primary, it's a young woman in her 20s. She's only in like the second or third year of her educational career. She teaches second grade, and I found it really interesting because the one that attracted me was the one where she starts off very upset over what's going on in her classroom. And she's in Maryland, and she teaches at a school where it's 80% minority students, and she was really frustrated because this little boy was not listening to her, and he is a continual issue, and she has to keep threatening to call the parents, and she doesn't know what to do. She's tried everything. But her vlog really shows how difficult it is to be a teacher. And I guess this is probably something that is close to the surface with me, because I definitely have a strong affinity for educators and teachers. I identify with that because I find myself teaching astrology, and I just had my first astrology class last weekend, and I'll get more on that later. But, the educational system is really being challenged right now, and maybe that's good, but not in a good way right now. So watching that YouTube channel, really, I mean, seriously, this woman goes through everything she does in a day, and she vlogs at many breaks during her day and shows you the classroom, shows you how much she puts of her heart into this classroom. And I just think that teachers get a bad rap. I just, well, why don't they understand how to read? Why do they just keep passing them on? Well, it's a flawed system. We really do in this country need to renovate how education is handled. And I personally like the idea of a standardized curriculum, because I think it's healthy for children if they have to move. I mean, my mom moved numerous times during her education, and I digress a little bit, but please just bear with me. She moved in her last year of high school, which, these children so many times. I did as well, but I was much more resilient. I always liked making new friends, so I never had as much difficulty. But my sister had a lot of difficulty. I moved probably 5 times in my grade school years, and it's okay. I was fine with it because I was outgoing, but having that standardized curriculum means that you can pick up right where you were from the last school, and I think that's huge for that stability. So anyway, soapbox put away. And so, coming up with Jupiter square Pluto, we're definitely getting into what's going on with education, and there is conflict. As Jupiter gets into Scorpio and then, of course, moves closer to Pluto over time, that's going to be helping us create a better structure. And quite honestly, it's also going to help the housing structure and what goes on banking and the relationship of people to banking, because Scorpio is value of self to others, and it will rise the people up to insist on a better way of dealing with finances. So, and having it in cooperation with Pluto, there probably will be a certain amount of control, because I'm not going to lie, because Pluto rules Scorpio. So when Jupiter goes into Scorpio, Pluto will be answering to Scorpio and to Jupiter. So it's going to be much more about self-interest, and that's going to, again, the Jupiter energy polarizes things. So we're probably going to see in the next year that separating between the haves and the have-nots and the middle class. Only it will be around how our financial markets are growing or not growing, or what's being done with the money, or how the people in charge of the banks are not giving the services that the people are requesting and demanding. It's going to get stronger because Uranus is going into Taurus next year in May. And so Uranus is the people, and Taurus is the money system. So I absolutely see our economics and financial markets are going to be going through their own renaissance. So just keep that in the back of your mind. The end of the year will be housing and education, foreigners, things like that, as Jupiter moves into Scorpio and Saturn in December goes into Capricorn. And then next year, Uranus goes into an earth sign, which will, again, put it in trine by element to Pluto. So we're going to, the fun never ends. So also Uranus rules astrology. So I think next year also there will be some changes in the astrological field, and it will be much more tangible for more of the masses. So that's awesome to look forward to. Okay, let's finish our chart and then talk a little bit about the fire energy, and then off we go. I'm actually going to read a couple of different transits and then finish the other signs. So the transits tomorrow are Mercury trine Saturn. So Mercury and Leo will trine Saturn, which is a fire energy. I guess I'll just incorporate the fire talk, the talk about fire in the sky, into this whole thing, and it makes it easier so we can take callers here in a couple minutes. So Mercury trining Saturn is about communication and bravado, actually. Mercury in Leo wants to tell the story and wants to be center stage with the story and wants to be seen as the authority figure and the leader. It will affect those born before roughly 1962, 61, 62, I believe it was, when Pluto moved from the end degrees of Leo into Virgo. So Mercury is touching on the Pluto of all those people born before then. And it's really triggering their voice. They're wanting to say, hey, listen to me. Don't you understand? That was also the generation that, I mean, my parents are that generation, so I understand. It's the generation where they had to practice diving under tables in case a bomb dropped, so it is a certain amount of, that fear came out, and the deep psychological stuff is being triggered in that generation. So don't be surprised if you hear more fear coming out, or be aware that they're more prone to accidents at this time. So if you have elderly parents in that generation, born in the 40s, born in the late 30s, watch out for the accidents, and they're probably not going to want help if something happens with health. They're also not really aware. I mean, as a general rule, with Leo being in the 12th house from Virgo, the energy is that for my generation, the people born with the Pluto in Virgo or Pluto-Uranus conjunct in Virgo may not really understand what they're going through, although I'm an astrologer, which really helps me to understand that generation more, and I have a Leo planet. So the Leo energy just really wants to connect and relate and be heard. And sometimes it comes off as arrogance, but if you take time to really find out what they're all about, you can gain more wisdom and connection. And that's really what Leo's about. It's just wanting to relate, wanting to create something really good between people. It is, in its higher vibration, a very loving, generous energy, and nurturing, very nurturing and childlike. So we're seeing that. And then remember, the fire signs are all very much about children energy and purity of expression and creativity. So having Mercury going into late degrees, coming up on Saturn, they're also moving within a wide trine to Uranus and Aries. So it's about new ideas and what can we do, what's the story, and connecting people of different cultures and trying to understand people of different cultures. So that's an overarching kind of generational vibration for that. But if you do have late degree Leo planets, which means anywhere from, say, 18th of August into the 26th of August, you're going to be feeling this energy. So, yeah, that's the fire energy coming. And let's see if there's anything else. Okay, I'm just going to leave that with you. We've got the moon at 19 Taurus today. So, gosh darn it, if I didn't forget what part of the cycle we're in. I think, didn't we just have a full moon, so it's waning now? I don't know. Let me find the moon here. New moon's on its way. Yes, we are waning. So by the weekend, we'll have Sun entering Leo. We have Mars entering Leo on Thursday. I don't know about you, but I'm so ready for that. I have Mars at 27 Leo, or excuse me, Cancer. And so Mars is right on my natal Mars. And as much as you would think it would be nice to have a Mars return, it's really stressful right now with a lot of the other planetary energies going on and, just passing that opposition. The energy of Sun conjunct Mars, which in 2 days they will be at exactly the same spot, it's intense because it's about finances, it's about money, it's about feeling secure. And Cancer can be triggered for that insecurity around money. You've got the opposition to what is the authority figure, which is Capricorn. So Pluto, major life change. So we're coming up on this energy, or we've been on this energy with these. First we had Mercury, now we have the Mars Sun conjunction, and pretty soon we'll have Venus at that same point. So it's really an intense energy around feeling secure and feeling like things are going to go well. But as of Thursday, Mars will be a tremendous help to this energy and will feel more in control. So when Mars goes into Leo, it's a fire sign and it's taking action, and that's where Mars wants to be, in fire and taking action. And right now it's in water and it's feeling the intense insecurity of that water, and it means that we're in our emotions, we're not in our physicality, we're not in the material. So it's definitely a strong energy around introspection and closing ourselves off and putting an arm up to other people. I felt it myself with my Mars return, of just wanting to hole up in the house and say, leave me alone. You know, I'm very vulnerable right now. So if you've been feeling that, that's part of the reason. Okay, and then Sun goes into Leo coming up. Let's find out what I say on Saturday at 11:15 a.m. Eastern and 8:15 a.m. Pacific. So, and then the Venus also transits the same day Mars goes into Leo, which is Thursday. We have a Venus in conjunct Pluto exact at 8:17 in the evening. So I see Thursday's going to be a big day, especially with our government, and Trump is a Leo rising with a Gemini sun. So, and he has Pluto in Leo, I believe. So it's going to be a big all eyes on Trump on Thursday, which he loves. So we'll see that. We have a Sun trine to Chiron. So Chiron's in Pisces right now, and that means Neptune's also very close to Chiron. So that's actually pretty good in a way. Having Neptune, it means that there is a certain amount of healing, a certain amount of fortune being brought to Chiron. So it's being triggered, and so we're going to feel that whatever our energy around that wounding, that deep psychological wounding, karmic wounding, is trying to be healed. And with the Sun trining it on Friday, what happens on Friday is going to be something that will actually help you heal a little bit more. So if you're open to it and aware, you're going to find that that's really good energy. Let's see if there's anything else I can eyeball here. Venus directly opposes Saturn on Monday the 24th at 10:54 a.m. So that's going to be another big day, Monday. It's going to be, like I said, it's about saying things that maybe you shouldn't say because they're going to go against what the public really wants to hear. I can tell you, Venus will move past that degree. I don't believe she retrogrades at all this year, or maybe she already retrograded. I'm trying to remember. I think she did a retrograde in Virgo, if I'm not mistaken, more recently. And I'm trying to pull this window down. So there we go. Let me see if she has a retrograde at all before the end of the year. I know Mercury has another retrograde coming up fairly soon. I think August is Mercury's retrograde. And if my mouse would work here, I can tell you what that is. There's so much this week. I want to take calls. I'll just take a quick break here in a minute, and then we'll take calls. So on the 13th of August, Mercury retrogrades at 11 degrees Virgo. And I don't think Venus has a retrograde. Yeah, Venus doesn't retrograde for the rest of this year, thankfully. So she will touch on the opposition to Saturn, but she'll move past it. And then she probably won't have a say again until the inconjunct, when she gets into Cancer. And so that's going to happen because everybody wants to know. I say something and they're like, but when is that going to happen? So we'll see. It's going to happen. Venus, 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 Cancer, 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 13 degrees, the 12th of August. So we'll feel that in August, and I'll probably bring it up then. Okay, so much to talk about, probably even more than I talked about here. I'll probably end the show later on and think about it tomorrow and go, why didn't I say that? Oh, I should have talked about that. Anyway, that's a lot to focus on. So we're going to be taking calls here in a minute. Let me just get back to the window so I can take a quick break, and we'll be back in about 2 minutes. So here we go. That was such a nice little break. So welcome back. My name is Shelley Overton. I am an astrologer in Orlando, Florida. If you are interested in getting a reading by me, I would love to do it. You can get me at astrologerangel.com. And let me see. Oh, I have reworked the website, and it's all. I'm just going to let you know. Check it out. And then also, let me see. I want to say, I think I'll just go on to this. So I have this book that I found called The Hidden Meaning of Birthdays. And it's one of these cute little books that basically gives you the meaning of every day of the year. So if you were born on July 18th, your sun sign is Cancer. Other people born this day are Nelson Mandela, Hunter S. Thompson, Dick Button, Clifford Odets. I don't know these people. William Thackeray, John Glenn, and Richard Branson. Let's see. Your lucky number is 7. Your birthstone is Pearl. Positive traits are bold, fearless, and adventurous, and negative traits are radical, childish, and extreme. Determined to make your voice heard, you are likely to embrace conventional methods in your professional or personal life. When you find a better way, you boldly speak out to let others know about it. Higher-ups may dread your candid outbursts, but co-workers applaud your courage in pointing out the truth. Friends may regard you as eccentric, but because they like you so much, they are willing to assume that there is a method to your appearance. Your hunger for spotlight can cause problems in romantic relationships unless you grant your partner equal time. And although your mate may back you to the hilt in your pursuit of truth and justice, there are moments when others should be your only cause. Wow, I kind of like that. I think it's kind of fun to read birthdays for the dates of the show. So maybe I'll make that a weekly thing. Okay, well, let's get to our phone lines and see who's been waiting for 53 minutes. Hi, 941, how are you?
I am fine. I'm Carla.
Hi. It's good to talk to you.
I love your show. Wow, you really talk, a lot on everything.
I do talk a lot when I've been drinking caffeine.
Oh, glad you put the caffeine in there, yeah. Yeah, and really, you just totally kind of make sense of everything going on, and I almost forgot about the eclipse and everything about to happen, so thank you.
Yeah. Oh, you're welcome.
I do have a question.
Sure, first off, before you get to it, your birthday. Go ahead.
2/8/65. My sun's in Aquarius, my rising's Gemini, and my moon's in Taurus.
Do you know the time?
12:35 or 12:30 in Milwaukee.
Okay, AM or PM?
Yeah, PM.
PM. Okay, in Milwaukee. All right, wonderful. Give me just a second, and hopefully my computer won't do crazy glitches and change things. Okay, awesome. It didn't. Yay, I love when that happens. Okay, so what can I do for you?
I was wondering what you foresee coming. I work for myself, but I also took on a part-time job, which I kind of want to leave. But right now, my own business is on the, it's starting to pick back up. After a while, I had to leave for a little bit to help out family. But it's starting to pick back up, but I still have this part-time job, which is helping out for a while. And I was just wondering, do you see my best to give notice and quit? I mean, it's just the environment is not for my highest good.
Right.
And everybody's very cutthroat, and, it's not a place where I want to resonate my energy.
Yeah. Well, I can see that with Saturn on your south node right now, and it's its last degree. Literally, Saturn in Sag is in 22 degrees, and your cusp to the 8th house is 23. So you're in the very last degree of Saturn in your house of work, and Saturn is your career. So it's retrograde. I think it's kind of like going back over, getting to know what it is you truly want and how you can live in the workplace. And that goes direct on the 21st of August. So I would say you can quit, but I would wait until then, just because then that's like a complete cut, and now you're actually 26th. I apologize, the 26th of August. So if you can make it even just one more month, that would be better for you, because then it's like completing the energy, and it's also a karmic energy for you. You have a south node at 21 Sagittarius, so literally Saturn is within a degree of your south node, which is energy that you know very well from a past life. And how long have you had this job?
This part-time job, I've had it since the end of February.
Yeah, so, that time anyway, I would have said it was going to be temporary, because there were a lot of retrogrades coming at that time of year. And so it probably was gotten during a time, I can even look, you said when in February?
I would say the very end of February. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah,
and I
there
knew
was
it was kind of like, for something very short term.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, okay, it's just like getting worse. I've never seen so many cutthroat people negative, and it's like they're all, I offended them with my skills and abilities, and it's just like, what was I supposed to do? I've been doing this work for almost 20 years, and I'm sorry you haven't, and people are, clients are liking me. Pardon me?
I was going to say that energy, well, there's a couple of things I could say about that. Definitely, I've seen that myself in the workplace, which is why I want to work for myself most of the time. I work for myself because people in the workplace, because of the structure of corporate America, people have to get ahead. And when they see somebody who is as capable or maybe more, they're a threat. And so I totally get that energy, and I've had it all my life. I've had it in relationships. I've had it in career. So I get you. And I also have South Node in Sagittarius and North Node in Gemini, so we're similar in that. So your Saturn's on your South Node, and Venus is transiting on your North Node. So that's what some of that is. And because Saturn's retrograde, it's like you're going back over this familiar energy where you've maybe had this in the past. You're very familiar with needing your freedom and wanting that, and not getting on board with some of this politics, some of the politics in the job. Saturn is showing it to you, so you can say, do I want it, do I not? This is, I was thinking when you were saying that, how much, when you see something that makes you feel so uncomfortable, that's the universe showing you, do you want this? Do you not want this? Because if you don't like it, you're out of alignment with your higher good. And so it's showing you where you're not happy, which means you're out of alignment with your higher good. So yes, I would absolutely say you're probably going to end that job, but I would suggest you wait. Right now, Mars is still in your house of money, and that's, I don't know if you feel it. It may make you a little uncomfortable, like, where's the money coming from if I don't have the job?
The part-time job,
Yeah, so it's there for a reason. It's there to kind of tamp down some of those fears. But again, like I said, this week both of those planets go into Leo, but they don't actually get out of the house of money for you until they hit 6 degrees. So let me just look up real quick how long it's going to take. So it's the 30th of July till they get to that degree. Mars won't get till into the next house until then. Mars going into Leo will actually make more, like right now with Mars and Cancer in the house of money, it's kind of like you're covert about it, and it's kind of like Scrooge, not that you're a Scrooge, but the image of Scrooge hovering over his money, trying to hold on to it, like, no, I don't want to, because it's the fear, right? And you also have Pluto in the house of joint finances, which probably doesn't help either, because now it's like, well, where is the money coming from on both ends? Is it, I don't know if you're married, but if you are, that can affect you. Or maybe there was a recent divorce or something that shifted your finances based on another person. So,
my daughter was
living
with me for a while, and I was helping her out a lot. Yeah.
Okay. So having the planets oppose Pluto recently, and then now at the end degrees, you really are, like, everything in this chart is saying wrap up the old story, wrap up the old story. And that's really what we're doing until Uranus goes into Taurus next year, because even Uranus is at the 28th degree of Aries. So end of the story. 28 degrees of Cancer, Sun's at 26 Cancer, and Saturn is retrograde at 22. So everything is really shifting the end of the story. and wanting to, and on top of it, you have Chiron. Your natal Chiron's at 16 Pisces, but today Chiron's at 28 Pisces. So there's a lot of 28s, a lot of ending of the story. So it's extremely uncomfortable because we're ready to change, not necessarily there yet. So I would suggest to you to wait till at least the beginning of August, and it might happen around that time for you because Mars goes into your house, the third house, which is like, I can't keep quiet anymore. It's really going to be because
I would like to complain to the owner, but he's. I don't think he would even. I think it'd be like my worst nightmare coming true. It's like I think it would totally go wrong, and he's kind of like underhanding the system too. So it's like, I'm in a situation where it's not advisable to be on a credit level. Nothing doing bad, but just kind of like undercutting the industry I am in massage, and it's just like I shouldn't even be here to belong with.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I'm just
that kind of feeling is like.
Company?
Yeah, but it's for a doctor, so, and all the other therapists, even the acupuncturist is so, oh my God, I don't know when she's going to verbally attack me in front of people, or just be nasty.
Oh my gosh.
And then
so
all the
low
other ones,
low vibration.
Yeah, and the other ones are all like, it's just like, oh God, I think it has to be, because I've been overly nice. My guides keep on telling me, just smile. And it's just like, how much more am I going to take, They're messing with my schedule and everything.
I feel you, because I feel that same disconnect between your situation and where you really want to be. But that's part of Saturn retrograde. It's really triggering the South Node, and it's triggering for you in the house of health and work. The sixth house, the house of health and work. I was just, Jupiter goes into Scorpio and will rapidly get to your Neptune, and it's going to happen 1958. Let me see. It's going to happen the 21st of January. So Jupiter on your Neptune is pretty flippin' good. It basically means that you're going to stand up for your dream, and it's in your house of work. Literally 5 degrees into your house of work, you have Jupiter on your Neptune on the 21st of January. Write that date down. I'm not saying you're not going to strides towards it, but I think definitely after the 21st, what's going to happen, I see, is Saturn's going to move immediately forward and go into your house of marriage and partnership. So, again, I didn't hear, you're not in a marriage right now?
No, and I'm looking for somebody, so.
Okay.
Well, not aggressively
that's gonna be,
looking. I guess I'm open to it.
Yeah. I think that it's definitely going to be, when Saturn gets into Sagittarius, that's going to, it's already in Sagittarius. When it gets into your house of marriage and partnership, it's going to increase the desire to travel, expand your world to meet someone else. And by the time it goes into Capricorn in December, it's going to create more structure for that. So it'll be like, the universe will be like, no, now you need to make it happen. It's in the tangible world, in your house of marriage and partnership. At the same time, it's going to also bring you into a potential partner for a business so that you can do your own thing. Okay? And I think that's where you're heading. Definitely you have a talent for intuitive healing. You've got Neptune and Scorpio in the house of work, in the house of health. So that's definitely, and I would say life coaching would be really good for you. I know you're a massage, but
I also do
coaching,
intuitive readings.
Okay, good. That's where I would.
See, that's that in my teaching and my healing. Those are my highlights. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
well,
in
you
this
do
case,
have.
you have to do. You have to be a massage therapist to do the healing work legally. So that's why I became that.
Yeah. Well, interesting. I did the whole Doreen Virtue Angel Therapy Practitioner course, and she recommended getting certified as a minister or a reverend through, online certification, which I did, and I think that also is kind of the fast track to sidestepping all the requirements.
Yeah, no, the state got away with that. In 1996, they stopped that, and you had to do energy work and come, I think it's like 4 to 6 inches from the body to do healing work or energy work. You have to be a licensed massage therapist.
Interesting. Yeah, I know there are.
Yeah, they made that a law. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're really touchy on stuff like that because they consider that the
Yeah.
state of health considers that
Mm.
manipulating energy field.
Interesting.
So, yeah,
Wow.
oh yeah, it's a big
Huh.
thing, and
So
all that.
you do Reiki too?
Yes, I've been teaching it for 20 years.
Okay. Awesome. Yeah, I was actually thinking of getting a class together myself, but I have to get my manual together first. So, yeah, you have 3 planets in Aquarius, which is a really good Reiki energy sign, and it's in your house of higher education, spirituality. So that's a really good thing. And also, astrology would be good for you as well because Aquarius is a sign of astrology. But, yeah, Saturn and Pisces in your house of career with Neptune up there, definitely strong psychic field, and then Neptune in your house of health and healing. Yeah, you're kind of destined to be a healer and do something that, increases that connection to people. So I think it's coming. Just keep on your path. I would wait, at least see what things are going like in the beginning of August when Mars gets into your third house. And if if you're still not completely comfortable, and Mars in a fire sign is also going to bring more opportunities because then it's much more likely to physically be brought around as opposed to the water energy, which is like, oh, I really feel it. I just feel it. I'm going to sit here and feel it, Going into Leo is like, okay, I've got to do something. I can't take it anymore. I've got to do something. So that's going to be good for you. And then Saturn direct. I mean, right now, as long as Saturn's retrograde, we're really starting to feel the closer energy as Saturn gets close to changing direction. We're feeling it more and more how uncomfortable it is, and that's going to get stronger until it actually goes direct on, the 26th or 29th. I don't know. There's so many change dates I try and keep in my mind. It makes it easier if you memorize it, but okay, on the 28th. So, yeah, I would, if you can wait one more month, I understand. And it's really, if you can look at it like, wow, this is really getting burned into my soul, just how much I dislike this energy. So I will not go back here. And that's kind of what it's doing. I mean, quick note, and no offense to anyone who likes Florida, to live in Florida, but I am much more a Westerner. Yeah, I'm a Westerner.
I'm from Wisconsin, so.
Are you? Oh, I love Midwestern people too. They're so sincere. I just love that part of the country. But I'm from Colorado, and I like the freedom of thought out there and the semi-arid climate, and it's just such a wonderful, expansive place. The
here.
Energy. Yeah. Pardon me?
It's so much different than here.
And you're blah blah. You're in Wisconsin.
I'm in Florida too.
Oh,
I'm
are
in
you?
Florida. Yes.
Oh, okay, yeah. What part of Florida are you in, if you don't mind my asking?
In the Tampa Bay area.
Oh, okay, wonderful. Yeah, my son goes to school in Sarasota, so I get over in that area probably a couple times, 2-3 times a year. But yeah, I'm so like, I just want to be in the West again. And I lived in Tampa. I actually lived in Brandon in high school. 8 years in high school and art school. But when I left, I'm like, don't go back here. And I swore I would never come back, and then I did. So I'm getting that same, like, it isn't that it's a bad place. It's just that it doesn't resonate to my energy. And so, we're feeling that discomfort of where we really want the change, and it's just not, it's like, I can't do this anymore. And I feel that. I mean, Florida can be a great place. I came here for the winter, but the summers are hell. So
yeah. Very
well.
much so. But you don't see me. See, my concern is how catty they're getting, and
it's Venus and Gemini opposed Saturn and Sag. It really is. And I'm telling you, Gemini energy. Gemini can be very gregarious and very social, but it can also be catty and backbiting and duplicitous. So that's coming out right now. The lower energies, if your work environment is a lower energy type place, that's part of it. But also the North Node in Gemini for you, right? I mean, it's just above the horizon when you were born, which means there's a side of you that you're attracting this because of something you need to learn, okay? And chances are it is that you have to learn to express yourself, and that's the positive side of it. So just watch out for people who, like, you have that character that knows, and it squares all your Virgo too, which is never comfortable. So right now Venus is squaring your Pluto, and so and naturally North Node squares right between your Pluto and your Mars. So you're feeling this as total discomfort, but it does give you something that you can work with to learn and grow. And if you can look at it like, wow, okay, so why does this bother me so much? And then you understand that it's an integrity, or it's an environmental energy, or whatever it is. You're like, okay, file that away. Don't put myself in this position again. And, trust my internal voice and express through integrity. And then, you change the negative to a positive. Okay?
Well, thank you so much.
You're welcome. My pleasure. Thank you for the call. I love talking to new callers, too. So please call back and let us know how it's going. Thanks, Carla. You said Carla, right?
Yes.
Okay, great. Thanks, Carla.
Okay.
Have a great day.
Thanks.
Bye. Okay, let's take 561. Hi, 561. How are you?
Hi, how are you?
Good. Who am I talking to?
James, James.
Have we talked before? Yeah, we have.
Yes, we have. Yes.
Okay, great. What can I do for you today, James?
I've been feeling a little annoyed these last few days, and I was wondering maybe because I knew it was out of the blue, and a lot of it is related to my work life right now, and love life, and so I'm just wondering if you can give me a little insight as to, am I going crazy, or if I really?
Oh my goodness. This is amazing. The last caller and your rising sign is 1 degree off of hers. She had a 23 Gemini. You have a 22 Gemini. So a lot of the same areas of work and life are being affected in your chart. And you also have Neptune in your career house. You also have Saturn right on the cusp of your 7th house. The difference is Saturn is right near Uranus for you, which means there's this restriction of freedom that is driving you nuts.
Yes.
Uranus is your ability to freely think, and Saturn wants you to look at the patterns going on in your work environment where your freedom of thought, your freedom of alternative methodology or thinking or movement or anything that relates to action or freedom of thought, you just really kind of want to go, what are you talking about? That's so stupid.
Right.
That's really
yes.
in a nutshell where you're coming from. Venus is also in your 12th house. So, is that, and you also have Uranus up there on your in your house of people and friends, networking through career. So it's soul group. And you really want to connect more with people who think like you, which is kind of the overriding view of our society right now, is we're really, with Uranus and Aries, we've been really awakened to find people who are more like us. But Jupiter in Libra is polarizing us, which with Saturn in Sagittarius is showing us which side we want to be on. Do we want to be on this team or that team? And it kind of becomes black and white. It's going to get even more black and white when Jupiter goes into Scorpio. And, when it does, it's going to trigger your Pluto, which is major life change. So having Jupiter, and I just want to give you a heads up, that's going to mean that you may have to let go of some friends. It's in your house of friendship. And so there are friends that are not necessarily seeing things the way they're not acting in your best interest. And you are much more aware, especially right now with Jupiter just going into the house of children and friends. So I don't know if you have kids, but there may have been a shift around kids recently, or even your home environment, because Jupiter went out of home and family. So there may have been a transition going on around family, parents, or the home itself moving. Which one?
Oh, yeah. Home and parents.
Okay. So now it's in the 5th house, which is friends and creativity and your own personal authority and connecting. It's about the connection and the relationship from you to someone else. So you're really finding that you're not connecting to people, or they're not relating to you. And that's not okay anymore. Like when Yeah,
Yeah.
when they don't relate to you anymore, you're like, I can't do this anymore. And that's really what Jupiter
Right.
will do is it'll say, I'm done. I need to move on. And so you felt that, and I've got chills with that too. Having Saturn on Uranus is also extremely strong in your chart, and Uranus just passed, well, he's been past your Venus for a while, but you do have Uranus and Venus within about 12 degrees of each other. So there's a really strong, for you, you have to have a certain amount of freedom and independence around people that you relate to in work, but in personal life, you are much more wanting to mesh and be enmeshed with them, but it's not working for you. So there's
No.
really kind of a dynamic going on. By the end of the year, or not even then, when is it? October. By October, Jupiter's going to be opposite Uranus. That's going to be a break point for you. Okay? It's really
Okay.
honestly accepting yourself, accepting who you are with regard to the other, because that's what Libra, Jupiter in Libra, is about the other. When Jupiter gets to Scorpio, it's about black and white and cutting and running. It's like Pluto rules Scorpio, and it just has no tolerance left for wishy-washiness. And so
Right.
once Jupiter gets in October into Scorpio, it's like no, it will be willing. Scorpio is willing to cut out what it's always wanted to save itself. Okay, so as much, and because Scorpio, you have Pluto in Scorpio, Saturn in Scorpio, you have a very deep nature. You really are very passionate. When you put yourself out there, you want to blend, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
For
true.
for
Yeah.
for friends and for lovers, you have to just you blend your souls. That's really your nature. And because of that, you're also very keyed into the emotionality. I'll try and say that
Oh
again. The
yeah.
emotionality of
Yes.
connecting. So
Yes.
what Jupiter's going to do for you and me and anybody who has strong Scorpio in their chart, which you do, is it's going to make you much more willing to cut out what is not working for you emotionally. Okay? It will make us very capable of doing that. And right now we're starting to feel it. We're like, in our minds, in the idea of what it is, it's not the idea. It's no longer working. Neptune's retrograde. It's giving us clarity, what works for us in the structures and emotionally, and it's not. So, and right now Jupiter is in conjunct to Neptune. So we're really having to take a cold, hard look at what's in our best interest, and it's not. So by the time Jupiter gets to Scorpio in October, early October, first week, I believe. Let me see here. And I want to memorize this. Why can't I do it? I think it's early, maybe late. I have in the past, and I just keep forgetting. It's even earlier than that. Oh, I'm in 2018. No wonder. Sorry about that. I was a little off. That's what caffeine does. Okay, it is the 10th. It's the 9th, 10th. I don't know the exact date on my table here, but it's the 9th or the 10th. And so it's going to really kick you into a new year, and you're really going to, like, everybody is going to start cutting people out who are not doing it for them. So the black and white thinking is on its way for a year. And trust me, with a sextile to Pluto and Capricorn, it's going to be apologies. It's like, you know what? I've given you my all. You're not giving me anything back and to give. I will see you another lifetime. So that's kind of what's coming.
Wow. Wow. And I did know
It's
that you
intense.
mentioned something about going into acting or something like that. Is that what? Because I feel like there's something creative that I'm here to do. I feel so creative, but I feel like I'm in a world of conservatism.
Oh, tell me about it. Yes, I totally get you. Neptune rules film, and that's cusp. So you've got Neptune up there, and Neptune wants you to express yourself through, I mean, if you do acting, that's great. Film would be a great, instead of, say, stage, you need to do it through something that, I mean, the reason film is so connected to Neptune and Pisces is that it gives a thread of history, it gives a story, and it weaves the past, like you past, which is what Pisces wants to do. It wants to say, hey, remember this, remember that. It's the archive. And so it gives that archive, you know, like I'm telling a story about the past. And honestly, personally, because I love stories that are period pieces, like Fried Green Tomatoes. Love that movie. It's
Right.
like so
Me too.
moody around a history time. So that kind of energy is really good for you. And you also have Neptune in Capricorn connection to the elderly or to a different time frame. That would be really great for you.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm looking at Taurus, which is also the arts. You have Pisces on your midheaven for career, expressing that story through creative or artistic endeavors. But you have Saturn in Scorpio, so there should be some kind of healing along with it. You need to express something that will heal people, and that's, I think, a motive.
Yeah.
Saturn in Scorpio in the sixth house to me is like healers, things like that. So if you have any interest in that, Uranus for you right now is definitely wanting you to do something and move away, far, far away. And you will, probably before the end of the year. Would not be surprised you say, okay, I got to get to where people get me. Yeah, Saturn moving into the house of marriage and partnership, which is commitment. And then it's also out of, it's just a lot of stuff. Sagittarius is moving Saturn into the seventh house, squares the, which can trigger a move from a relationship to someone else. So that might even be coming your way as well.
Oh, wow. Thank God. Thank you for this. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. I hope I encouraged you, and I hope you have a wonderful week. And take care. Okay.
Thank you so much.
Bye, James.
Thank you. Bye.
You're welcome. My pleasure. Bye-bye. All right. 720, I'm so sorry I didn't get to you this week. Please call in early next week. I will get to you. I will try and remember you called, and we'll talk to you next week because it's the end of the show. And thank you so much, everyone, for listening. Take care. See you next week. Thanks for stopping by AstroEnergy this week. If you would like to get a hold of Shelley Overton, you can get her at astrologerangel.com, on Facebook at AstroEnergy or Astrologer Angel. The music was provided by Kevin MacLeod at incompetech.com with additional music by Ironwood Rain. Check them out on the net at ironwoodrain.com. Thanks for stopping by AstroEnergy this week. If you would like to get a hold of Shelley Overton, you can get her at astrologerangel.com, on Facebook at AstroEnergy or Astrologer Angel. The music was provided by Kevin MacLeod at incompetech.com with additional music by Ironwood Rain. Check them out on the net at ironwoodrain.com. To subscribe, please click the picture of Shelley on the right or the red button below.